Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's considered our committee of the whole. It's the first one that we have had since most of us have been elected, so it's kind of exciting. It's corporate authorities with the Finance Committee in the Village of Campton Hills, February 3rd, 2026, 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Trustee Benetti?
Here.
Trustee Boatner?
Here.
Trustee Burson?
Here.
Trustee Hassenberger?
Here.
Trustee Millette?
Present.
Trustee Muir?
Here.
President Wojnicki?
Present.
And from the Finance Committee, we have John Olson.
Okay. Welcome, John. It's okay, you're here. That's what's important. All right, please rise for the pledge. And Therese, would you lead us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Tracy?
Patsy Smith?
Yeah, they're sitting in the back, yeah. Thank you, James.
I thank you for the opportunity to comment. I wanted to let you know that I assume you know, but maybe you don't. If you're talking about budget, I did look up in the Illinois Review magazine, and the updated revenue projections are
Yeah, get a little closer.
are out.
Yeah,
How you?
There
It's
you
on,
go.
right?
Yeah.
The updated revenue projections are out now in your Illinois February edition of the magazine. So, you know, the Finance Committee and anybody else might want to take note of that. The main thing I'm curious, and I assume everybody's going to be asking, or first off, a general comment is I think most of us are a little disappointed with some of the things we read and saw in the audit. But one thing I hope that they address is on page 44 in relation to the accrual versus cash basis and the correction of $378,570. I'd like to know more about that. And I do have a few questions as to whether or not you know, was the Police Pension Fund annual report filed with the state as required in May? Was the annual account filed by the end of October in the newspaper and with the county collector? Just curious. And then I just, you know, I think I'll learn more. I would have preferred to have had public comments after you did your presentation, because I assume you'll answer a lot of the things I had, so I'll wait and see if you answer things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Patsy. Any others? No. Okay. We'll move on to the discussion items. Who'd like to start? Okay. Do you want to do an overview? Okay.
Do you want me to just stay here? Yeah. Okay, awesome. I'm going to start off by thanking the committee and the board for letting me present tonight. My name is Jasleen Kaur. I'm one of the managers at Lauterbach and Amen, and I was the primary main contact / lead on this audit.
James, put the mic a little closer to her. It doesn't even sound like it's on. Yeah.
Better?
Thank you.
Better? Okay. I also want to thank the staff for getting through this audit. I know there were a lot of hiccups, but we got through majority of it, and any questions I'll try to address. If not, then we'll definitely get back to you once I get back to the partner. The first piece I would like to go over is the SAS 114 letter, the primary purpose of which is to convey whether or not we had any difficulties or disagreements during the course of the audit, and I'm happy to report that no such disagreements or difficulties were encountered, and everything was resolved over the course of the audit. Next is, I'll go over the bound report, a couple of pages I would like to point out. Pages 4 through 6 talk about the independent auditor's report, which describes that the management's responsibility is the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. Our responsibility is to generate an opinion on those financial statements, and we've issued an unmodified opinion, which is the cleanest form of opinion and the highest level of assurance that we can issue. Next couple of pages is the management's discussion and analysis, or what we like to call the MD&A. It's a great narrative summary of the whole report itself. It points out important financial highlights for the fiscal year. We understand there's a lot of numbers within the report, so this is a great summary to look into. Overall, next couple of pages 26 through 27 talk about the fund level income statement for the governmental funds. Overall, the funds looked pretty okay, except for the motor fuel tax fund, which did have a negative ending fund balance of about $923,000. Following to those financials, you will see notes to the financial statements, where you will see anything from the investments, leases, interfund transfers and balances, capital assets as of fiscal year end, long-term debt, as well as IMRF and other pension information. Lastly, in the required supplementary information, you will see contribution tables, budgetary comparison by fund tables as well. Last piece I would like to go over is the management letter, the purpose of which is to convey any internal control recommendations that we have, best practices that we see in the industry, or upcoming GASB pronouncements. There were a couple of current ones, which is IT, which is generic. We had to issue, GASB required us to issue that for all our clients. It will come, we implement it next year and come off in the following. The next is outstanding check write-off policy, which we can send you the template tomorrow to get that implemented in the future. Collateral for police pension fund, like the BMO basically was not fully collateralized, just something to look into. IPOPIF was fully collateralized, that's held by the state. And then segregation of duties, just overall, I think everybody knows here with Tim's involvement, we just found that everything overall was fine, but in terms of one person managing everything, I think that's where we were lacking in terms of segregation of duties. Two updates to the prior comments: funds with deficit fund balance, like I said, motor fuel tax fund, and then funds over budget were general and motor fuel tax fund. And then there's two upcoming GASB standards, 103 and 104, which will be applicable in next audit. Any questions?
Wow. All right, anybody have any questions or any discussion? Yeah, pardon me? Yeah, if John, yeah, but John, do you want to add anything? Okay, Mike, come on up. Yeah.
Thank you. Where do I start? Let's see. I'll give an overview first from a citizen's perspective. The audit is embarrassing, shows lack of controls, questions the ability of the previous treasurer and the administrator, questions the funding responsibilities and lack and poor oversight of positions here, and sure doesn't show any transparency. Many of you, not all of you, of course, but numerous people and some of the previous board members were here when I came, and a few of you came on, and were chastising you continually for not having financial reports, okay? And I know I got a lot of eye rolls back then, and oh, he's Chicken Little, the sky's falling in. Well, guess what? Guess who was right, okay? And the board ignored it, or at least didn't do enough of what should have been done to get those financial reports. Okay, you went way too long before you saw anything, and you waited way too long to make a move on an individual that I believe did not have the proper capacity and education and knowledge to handle that position. So that part is on you guys. As far as the audit is concerned, I will ask you if you'd like to. Hopefully everybody has read this in the beginning opening letter. It clearly states that from a Lauterbach's standpoint, that the financial statements but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion or the effectiveness of the village internal controls. Accordingly, we do not express an opinion on the effectiveness of the village internal controls. Okay, what they're telling you is they do a sample and that's it. Okay, you should not rely upon this audit to think everything is fine or these are the only issues that could possibly be there. I have a feeling there are a lot of other issues going on that have not been necessarily uncovered. And you got issues with unreconciled accounts, allegedly. I guess it will come to a conclusion here pretty soon whether that's happening. You have to have transparency on your financials. They should be provided to the board every month, to the finance committee. John should have had those all along and needs to have them going forward, including bank accounts and fund balances. No withholding of information anymore, like was happening in the past, okay? I resigned. I was on the finance committee, Patsy, for 10 years, back under your administration. And I gave Barb, my resignation because the administrator, your current administrator, refused to give the finance committee bank statements. Told me, I don't do that, you're not entitled to them. I was on the finance committee. They belonged coming to the finance committee, told them they could redact the bank account number if there's concerns about that, still was told no, okay? I'm not gonna stay in a committee, a volunteer committee, when I'm not being given transparent information that we're able to go through and verify things are happening. And I'll get into this later on, other issues that were going on at the time. But it's all symptomatic of how we got to where we're at right now. On one of the pages, current recommendations, you may have mentioned, I apologize for your name, Justine. During the current year audit and procedures, we noted the village does not have a formal policy for following up on processing of old outstanding checks. And several have resulted in checks being included in the bank reconciliations. Well, not sure the bank reconciliations are even being done or caught up. When you aren't canceling out your checks and doing your reconciliations, you have no idea what's outstanding and may come through. Or accounts that aren't being properly collected, or properly recording the receivables to begin with. I've had numerous conversations over many years about having a process where it clearly ensures that receivables are being properly recorded and collected. So apparently that's still not happening. The collateralization. I was on the committee with John, and I know that one of our members insisted that the bank accounts be collateralized. How we got one that we got away from that practice, I have no idea. But it wasn't happening back then, so again, a problem. Lack of segregation of duties. And they recommend that the organization of the finance department and the functions assigned to the individual staff be reviewed, possibly modified for the internal controls and segregation of duties. I don't know if everybody understands what segregation of duties means. It is a process in which you have different people doing different parts of the process to ensure that there can't be collusion or material errors. Hopefully one person catches it. So a person inputting would not be the same person approving. And the reason you do that is to catch those issues, okay? And it's been weak here for a long time. It's coming up on the audit and needs to be addressed. Deficit funding. I have no idea how you guys got to this point. We had balanced budget. We were very proud. I was a trustee for 6 years in this village, elected. And we guaranteed, or at least the best we could, to the community that we'd have balanced budgets from day one, and Patsy started them, and we continue to do that on. How you guys got in this situation is beyond me. How a budget was approved is beyond me. They were always balanced, and we did not go over. The budget that is approved is the maximum you are allowed to do. That's why you have a public hearing. That's why you put a notice in the newspaper. It is your authorization to go up to, but not over, the amounts that are budgeted. You had no authority to go beyond the budget that was produced. So again, blowing through controls. Let's keep going. Talking about in the audit, just for clarification, they always put this in here. It is management's responsibility for the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America, and for the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal controls relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements that are free from material misrepresentation, whether due to fraud or error. What they're saying is, again, it's the board and your staff's responsibility. It's not the responsibility to find everything. They come in and do a general audit, often through sampling. They're not looking at every transaction. So the rest of it falls on the board and the staff to ensure that it's properly being taken care of. Okay, they're clearly identifying, don't think that this audit report is all-encompassing, basically, is what you're trying to say, in my opinion. So, what else have we got here? General fund error, I'd love to know about that too. In tax revenue that was being reported, as I read, no idea how that could happen, so maybe you can give some light if you get a chance on that. That would be appreciated. General fund over budget by 401.3, I think, I'm sorry, 401,371. No idea how you guys got in that situation. Probably by not having financials and knowing where you're at any time, probably contributed to that if I had to guess. When you don't have monthly financials that you can look at and make questions as you go along, this is the situation you get into. You blow through budgets. And later on today, if you'd like, I'd be happy to take you through. You're on a path right now to be over budget on the current budget. If I took the 7-month November year-to-date statements, which are already over budget, and extrapolated them out for 12 months, okay, and you're gonna fly right through those budgets. Again, no controls in place, not being monitored, not being aware, to your guys' amazement, I guess, that you weren't receiving financials or being warned, hold it, we got a problem we're gonna go over. I don't even know if you were getting statements to know that information. You guys can explain that one, because bizarre to me. And then, as the auditor recognized, the general fund over by 401,371 and the motor fuel tax over by 193,168. Deficit budgeting and appropriations, it's nuts. That's not how this village runs. It never ran like that. So, it's embarrassing. So, that's on you guys. I get it, you're just the board, you're here to advise and consent, but you have to have the controls in, you have to have the reports that are given to you, you have to insist upon it, I don't care what anyone else tells you, you have to demand them, and if you don't get them, you have to make moves. You got the wrong people in positions, remove them. It's you guys that are representing, you got elected by your constituents, you owe them this information. They're counting on you guys to have the controls in place and to make sure there's no fraud and to make sure proper accounting is being done and proper segregation of duties are being done, okay? I question whether those are being done at this point. And the auditors identified some of them, but there may be more. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any discussion from Mike's presentation? Janet, go ahead.
I would actually be grateful if Mike would be willing to stay at the podium for a moment, because I have a question, and I think maybe you could help us answer. You expressed disappointment and dismay with the performance of the village with regard to these financial matters, correct? Yes. I did not hear any issues with the audit team itself, or did you have concerns about the work done by Lauterbach and Amon in this audit?
I don't have any concern with the work because they're doing a surface level audit. They're not doing a complete,
It's not the audit you would have in a business.
no. No, let me take that back. They are doing what they need to do to comply with the rules and regulations. It's the minimum standards that they're going to meet. That by no means that they're giving you guys a complete audit, clean, everything's in perfect condition.
Obviously not.
Just make sure you guys understand that. They're gonna do the best they can to meet the standards, up to the standards, they're not gonna go beyond. You're not paying for an in-depth audit to get farther than that.
But to be-
But that's where the internal controls, your financial statements coming to the board, and the reconciliations need to be done, and then they can take it from there and figure if there's anything else that's of concern.
But to be clear, your concern is how the village managed this
Yes.
process,
Yes,
and not
I
with
have
the audit team.
no concerns with what they did. I think they did what they were paid to do,
Thank you.
and nothing more.
Go ahead, Frank. You still
So
want
Mike-
Mike up there? Mike?
And what, In what capacity were you speaking here tonight?
I'm sorry,
What capacity are you speaking here tonight?
citizen?
So why wasn't he in the open comments section? Why is he allowed to speak after the audit was presented?
Because he's speaking about the audit process, I think it's fine. It's,
Well, Patsy asked to speak after, and she was
Yeah.
told no.
Oh,
So my,
she-
my
she
sec,
can-
my second question
Yeah.
is, where did you obtain all the details that you presented tonight? No, not you.
Mine,
So you didn't?
mine were online. It was all part of the package. The audit report's online.
Okay, but you commented on some of the things that we haven't even seen yet.
Everything that I talked about is, and I'd be happy to give this to you, is online. Here's the audit report, the draft that was provided. It's in your package. I have nothing further than that. And it's all the comments that I read that came from the auditors. I didn't make any of those up. They're stated in there.
How did you know about the reconciliation issue?
It talks about them.
You commented on this year's issues. The audit doesn't cover this year's issues.
Well, your financials are online though, Frank.
I
Excuse me,
understand,
trustee.
but you said,
The current,
how do you know they haven't been reconciled?
it's pretty well known at this time that the trustee, the treasurer that was in place left and admitted that reconciliations haven't been done. Maybe it's hearsay. If you want to counter that, feel free.
I'm just asking you where you heard it from, if it's hearsay.
Numerous people.
Can you name
Nope.
any of them?
I'm not. I'm a citizen here. I'm not under oath.
Okay. I feel like we've been set up here, it's just my opinion, but I thank you for taking the time to do it.
Mike, hold on. Therese, go ahead.
Two things. Number one, the reconciliations were clearly discussed in the last meeting, or maybe last two meetings, so I don't think that's I think it's not, I think you think it's some big gotcha moment, but that's been discussed openly for a while, so anything that's discussed in open session is out there. Okay. Second thing, if, given your background, I know you're going to give us more of that possibly later, would you recommend any kind of a forensic type accounting at this point, moving forward? Or what would your recommendation be? Because it sounds like you're acknowledging what I think we are all seeing in the report, that there's some big concerns here.
I think it depends on the direction the board wants to move. There's proposals in your packages, if you choose to do those. Maybe you don't have to do a forensic audit. If you choose not to do that, I think you should do that.
But is it important to have, if we do have someone come and look at the books or help us out, is it important to have someone be independent of people who have already been involved in our books?
It would sure help if somebody that had experience and knew what they were doing went through the books. It will flush things out quicker. You go to outside, and yes, they may have the knowledge and expertise, but it's going to take them quite some time to get up to speed and understand what they're looking at with lots of questions, and you're paying a bill.
I guess my point is, would you have someone who's currently doing our audits come in and try to then get us up to speed on our books at the same time?
That's a tough call, I'll be honest with you. On the one hand, if they're familiar with it, I don't know if it'd be the same team or a different team from your company. If it's a different team, then you could probably go with anyone else. If you'd be part of that team and are familiar, then I think you go to whoever you guys want to go to. Because they're going to start from ground zero also.
Okay.
It's really just a matter of the preference for the board, which way you guys want to go. Does it need to be done? Yes. Do the bank statements need to be gone back through for at least 2 years? Yes. Do all your funds need to be rechecked and balanced? Yes. Who you choose to have do it, you got some choices. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Hang on, Mike. Mike Millette wants to speak.
I don't have any questions for Mike. I
Oh,
just have
okay.
other comments, so if anybody else
Okay,
has
sorry.
questions for Mike, they can jump ahead of me.
Anybody else have any questions or
Okay.
comments? Okay,
Can I just make a final comment? I
Fine.
didn't come
Sure.
here to set anybody up.
no.
This is all information that's available. You guys know what's going on here. I walked away from the village a couple of years ago and haven't looked at a financial statement from you guys in a couple of years. Okay? I had no idea that this was going on, and nor do most people in the village, I guarantee it. but when the audit report came out, I read through the entire audit report, all the way through, and made notes. And the truth is, we never had an audit like that before. That's the real truth. Okay, and I'm not blaming necessarily the board. Yes, you have the oversight, but if you weren't getting the information, I don't know what else you can do. You have to have the information, but you gotta hold people accountable, please. If they're not giving you what you need, you gotta change them out if that's what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, the public is looking at you guys. I sat in those seats. I know they are. You're their representation. So there have to be checks and balances. You guys gotta have, we used to get canceled checks. I don't know if you get canceled checks anymore. I have no idea. The reason we did that was for various things, because we had a rule. It had to have 2 signatures on every check. Guess what? We looked at that. We looked at who they were being written out to. Are they appropriate? Did they go beyond certain people's levels that were signing? It was part of the package. I don't know whether you're doing that anymore or not. I'd sure want to see it if I were you guys. Well, that's all I've got.
All right, thank you, Mike. Mike, go ahead.
Thanks. To be fair, or full disclosure, I called you 3 weeks ago or something like that to ask his opinion on some of this because I've trusted his opinion for a long time. And then I'm sorry if it got you peaked again. So the budget that's published for fiscal year '26 right now, as adopted, yes, it was over by $8,989. Okay, that's what it shared, that's what's on our website, that's what I remember us talking about. Excuse me. So, for the point, yes, it's over less than $10,000. However, when I look at the audit from last year that says we should net up $42,000. That's what our audit said. We had original Rev 3.1, final same, actual Rev 3.37, and then total expenditures 2.929, and then actual expenditures 3.3. Correct. That is over budget. You are correct. We should have done a budget amendment. The magnitude of that is we still put money in the bank, so to speak. We should have addressed that sooner. We did not. That's on us. Now, when I look at our audit as presented now, there is, where did I just put it? There is a adjustment on it. Nope, where'd it go? There isn't it, no, where'd it go? I'm sorry, there, my bad. So we have an adjustment of, wait, that's this year's audit. Hold on, my bad, sorry. Last year, here we go, my bad, I had them backwards. Last year's revenue 2.8, budgeted amended same, actual revenue 3.5, expenses 2.8, actual 3.31. So last year, it shows us netting up $445,000 last year. We transferred $650 out for other uses that netted down $204. That's our fund balance. Okay. So ending fund balance 4.249. So going to this audit, our beginning balance 4.249. Hooray, they match. Then there's a restatement error correction of $378,570. Restatement dash error correction 378570. What the hell? We left when we were this time last year looking at the audit. We're like, okay, yeah, we spent more money, but we made more money, quote unquote, to use that term, and we're going to put some more into capital. Cool. So yeah, we're going to hit a fund balance. The fund balance is going to hit by 200,000. Okay, we're cool with that. And then now the one that we got now draft says, oh yeah, in addition to that, we're going to make an error correction of 378,570. What error is that?
From our testing procedures, we found that income taxes were accrued for more than what the industry standard is.
Okay.
So we had to back it out of revenue and post it to beginning fund balance to shore it up to what the other standard is, which is no month should be accrued for income taxes.
Okay. Would not the treasurer have been supposed to tell us that? Board, not to you, board?
Sure.
Okay. So our fund balance ending per this audit is $3.7 million. This is our unrestricted fund balance for the general fund,
Let me look at the breakdown.
okay?
Down from 4.2
Mhm.
because of that.
Yeah.
So on pages 22 and 23, you will see the fund balance breakdown.
Hold a moment, let me catch up with you. 22, 23. Okay, I'm there.
So you'll see non-spendable, restricted, committed, and unassigned. So if you go to page 23, the total column,
Oh, this is, okay, gotcha.
so that gives you the breakdown of what is committed, what is assigned, what is unassigned.
Okay. All right, so our cash on hand, quote unquote, 7.8 million. Correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
that's
cool.
it.
All right.
Tying back to the unrestricted
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. That's all I had right now.
on your page.
Okay,
May I
go
continue?
ahead. Sure.
Trustee Burson, just remind me. So part of the, if we look at specific to the road fund, which includes MFT, we didn't do anything for a year, so we shifted everything forward. I think we all realized we did that. And then we added the 650 from capital to add to that. So that got expensed this year, but it didn't get expensed last year because we didn't do it last year. So that does show, it shows a larger hit than it would be, but it's 2 years' worth of road work.
But I think you got my phone. There it is.
Yeah, go ahead,
The-
Mark.
The road project that was done this last year, though, it was not shown here, was all done from unrestricted fund balance because we didn't want to use MFT, and that was a conscious decision the board made on this year's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the MFT will go to the KCOM bypass this year.
Okay, any more discussion, questions? Therese, go ahead.
So after our treasurer left in December, it became, I guess that's when I was made aware anyway, that there were no reconciliations being done like monthly. I mean, we were not getting statements, we knew that there were problems, but that became an issue. It was discussed when he was leaving with our new accountant. I'm assuming that most of your work was done before that, but I understand you've been made aware of that issue, is that?
But our scope of audit is as of April 30th, 2025.
Okay, so you wouldn't change any opinions or any findings or any recommendations in your audit based on that knowledge now?
Our thing is only for the fiscal year, like, of 25. Like, that's our cutoff.
The reconciliations were not being done for fiscal year '25 on a timely basis. He did the way it was described to me, or not to me, the way I've heard it described, is that to get ready for the audit, he did a quickie reconciliation with variation, or with a variance. And so knowing that now, knowing that we don't have reconciled accounts for that entire fiscal year '25 is something that we're going to catch up on now. Does that change your opinion on anything at all?
So we reviewed all the bank reconciliations, like, for the month of April 2025, and then we did not find anything that was material enough that was just like a plug to pass on. If we did, we talked to Tim during that time, like during the course of the audit, to get that taken care of.
So you were aware at the time, or you were not aware that there were no
We
reconciliations
were not
being done?
aware of it. We were just given the bank reconciliations when we came in, and then we did not see anything, or we fixed with the journal entries. We were not aware of the situation that led up to them being done, like on a quick
But now that
basis.
you're aware, are you concerned at all about those reconciliations being properly done? So you
We
can see
did
how
our
they?
due diligence on internal control testing, and we did not find anything out of the ordinary to have that question or like have that brought up.
So it wouldn't change a footnote or anything either? That,
Not as of
as
for
a, as a lack of
3025,
a
no.
procedure or something like that?
If we did any recommendations we did have, we put it within the management letter comments.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Janet.
Quickie reconciliation is not a term of art in your business, is it?
I mean, for our purposes, they were done. I know the audit was delayed, but like I said,
But, I mean,
There's
they
certain-
were, I mean, they're either done or they're not done, right? I mean, they're not,
Correct.
there's not such a thing as
So-
a quickie reconciliation
If-
in your experience, is
if we
there?
were told that, like, there was still outstanding stuff that needs to be taken care of for the audit, we will push the audit out, and I think that's what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
We did not, like, what was scheduled originally, we did not,
So,
state.
so
on
some
the
of that
plan.
material was late, but it was not incomplete.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? James? No? Oh, let let Kim go. Sure, go ahead. Mhm. Yeah. Microphone? You,
I still wasn't talking long enough?
Miss Mike there.
Anyway, just so, I'm not asking any questions, because those questions were already asked. I called them and emailed, and, so, just so the public knows.
Oh, that was it, okay. Frank, I think you had your hand up?
Yeah, so based on the scope of the audit that you conducted, you didn't find anything other than what you've noted? You didn't find anything material outside of that?
No, so either we put it in the management letter comments, like I said, or we adjusted it in our journal entries to get to the balances that we have on the financial statements.
Okay, and then in your opinion, if I understood you correctly, the lack of reconciliation didn't cause a material problem
No,
overall for the village financially?
no.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay. Let's see, Therese first, and then we'll go to Mike again. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. We're in a cow, right? Committee of the whole? Are we doing
Yeah.
a com-
Yeah.
Okay, Frank. To your point, I think, yeah, I think that was a question that might be out there in the ether too, is, you know, this isn't office space where they're running around a whole bunch of money's missing type of thing. It does seem to be accounted. It is our issue that it doesn't match what we gave budget authority to. And that's an entirely different thing. And it matches to the comment, thank you for the clarification on the accrual on the income tax. That also matches to the fact that if we're not starting at the beginning knowing what assumptions were made on the revenue projection, or in this case, timing of, then we can't make the right, or can't make educated decisions. So when we get to the regular meeting, I have some comments, and we'll address them if Madam Chair will permit me. But to the listening public out there, the fact that this audit is delayed has affected us starting our budget process. Just number one, because we are in February 3rd. Finance Committee should have already been able to generate, every other year we've had, Finance Committee would generate the revenue projections by this point. We would be, that's what this meeting would be about, would be to start to tone or dial into those revenue projections. We should usually have a rough cut of what we think we're going to spend, or we'll at least be looking at the year-to-date actuals and getting fly-out numbers on where we think we're going to be, so we know what's going on for the next month and a half when we're actually starting to grind out on the budget. So that's the effect that we're looking at here. And I think if I'm misrepresenting what I'm hearing, please jump in and correct me. That's
That's what happened last year.
hold on. Yeah, true, and this happened last year. If we are, let me back up. We have to have our budget passed by our last meeting in April, so it can take effect on May 1st. We're small enough that should never be a problem for us. We should be able to adopt our budget in March and have it ready to go. Things happen, I get it. Part of the concern I have is since, thank you, Mark, that you're right. This is deja vu from that sense, because when we're talking about the budget we're looking at, and again, it says $8,989, unless I can't read anymore, that's what it says. With parentheses, which I believe is a negative number, I can't remember. No, wait, no, in this one, it's a positive number, right? Revenues got parentheses on it on our budget. I thought he fixed that. Crap. Anyway, so we have a surplus of $9,000 as our adopted budget says. We rushed things. That's the issue I'm getting at. We squeeze our timeline that we shouldn't have to because we didn't have this audit in front of us in December. Or sometimes we've had audits in October. We've had audits in October and November. So when we talk about going forward in the regular meeting, I have a couple more comments.
Therese, go ahead.
So just two things. The first one, what types of things would, is there anything in this report that's going to trigger any kind of a report to the Illinois Comptroller's Office that you're aware of?
Good question.
Are they concerned about things like over budget like this?
No. I mean, I know for a fact for the over budget, it's a soft error, but doesn't prevent us from submitting the report to the state.
And it won't flag anything once it gets there?
No, we've never had that. Budget is just a number. I understand that's a sensitive topic tonight, but budget, that's not something that's going to like flag the village for anything.
And even, I think is this the second year in a row where we've had
Doesn't-
budget issues?
no.
Doesn't matter. So on the comptroller's website, are you familiar with the
Yeah.
website? Who should be listed as our chief executive officer on that site?
I actually emailed Mark about it a couple of days ago because we're trying to get that draft going since we are close to finalizing the audit. That's and your guys' discretion, I would say. Whatever you prefer, CFO, like collectively, I would say.
There's four categories. There's a category for the person that's preparing the
contact
information
person,
or
yep.
entering it in. There's a CEO, and there's either CFO, treasurer, and then there's a fourth position. I forget if it's like
Purchasing agent.
purchasing
Yep, yep.
agent. So the CEO, you think is up to our discretion?
Yes. So
Even
I
though-
can tell you what we had in the past.
Yeah, yep.
Give me like 2 seconds, try to connect. So last year, we had Tim listed as the contact person and the CEO. Mark was the CFO, and then Tim was the purchasing agent and the FOIA officer.
Yes, I'm aware of that. Prior to this, though, with other administrations, it was always the statutory CEO of the village, which is our president. So it started out when it was transferred from the prior president to this president. All the information was entered in under Barbara Wanicki. And then that got changed for some reason. I'm just wondering if you would have any insights as to why someone would change it from Barbara for the CEO of the village to either Timothy McPhillips, was our treasurer, or to Mark Rooney, who's our independent contractor administrator. So not even an employee of our village would be listed as our CEO, but you don't have a problem with either one of those?
I mean, this is something they don't tag either, like they don't flag this either. This comes from the client, honestly, and honestly, this
So
is
you-
my first time doing this audit, so I would not know.
And you
without
didn't
actually
recommend
talking to
it?
the partner.
You did not recommend
No,
that?
no.
Because Timothy said that you recommended it, just so you understand where
Okay.
I'm getting the information from.
Okay.
He
I
said
can take
it
it
was
back
at
to the
your
partner and
recommendation.
see if like they have prior information to figure out like how that came about. But I would not be able to answer that question.
But just to be clear, you did not
Okay.
recommend that.
We did not.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Do we want to address that tonight and just make a decision? Could we make it CEO?
Yeah, I mean, if that's fine with me, I don't care. Yeah,
It's not material, but I do have to decide.
but
Barbara?
Yeah, so we should, I think it'd make makes sense to make it Barbara
Go,
again.
go ahead, Teresa.
It is,
Unless-
it actually is material, because that, if you read the comptroller's website, and actually, I'd like to pull it up and read it to you, because it's very specific. It makes it very clear that it should be the president or the mayor. I don't think it's discretionary at all, but the second thing is, they make it very clear, that is the only way that they know how to contact us. And so if they are going to contact us and they need to get a hold of the actual CEO of our village, being Ms. Wanicki, her information was taken off. And it should never have been taken off, is my point. So we've got to start, being a little bit more careful about this type of thing, because if the comptroller's office did have any kind of an issue and needed to get a hold of someone at the village, right now, I believe it's listed as Timothy McPhillips. He's not even here anymore.
How much you want to discipline the guy who's gone?
This is actually an issue with our process. This has nothing to do with Timothy McPhillips individually. This has to do
Of
with
course
our
it
own
does.
process.
It's all about Timothy McPhillips in that
Maybe
particular
for you,
example.
but you're not going to put words in my mouth, Janet.
But we do have consensus to make it the CEO
Okay.
as Barbara Woznicki. I don't see anybody opposing that.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. John, do you have anything you want to say? Not right now? Okay, you wait till the next meeting? Okay, sounds good. All right. Nick at all? No? Okay. Who else? James, no? No? Yes? No, no, okay. All right. Hold on, Treese, you want one more? Yeah.
Do we have an idea about this 401,000 over budget, where it came from, what it was spent on? I know right now it's been, the vast majority has been attributed to the police side, but I was wondering if someone could give us some insights as to how that happened and what those dollar amounts are from, or what they represent.
As of now, I won't be able to tell you, but I can definitely email you with an
Okay.
answer of like by account line and see where things went the other way.
But it is your impression, though, that the vast majority did occur on the police side? Because I think there's some confusion
I don't
about
have
that.
access to our software as we speak, otherwise I would be able to pull it right now, so I can't say.
Because I think we're thinking that that's probably not 100% accurate, but I look forward to seeing the information that you send. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Please send that to us and send it to the police chief as well.
Just to make a point, in the audit, it does show where the overages were. It was 2 line items, and I unfortunately just closed it out. But it had to do with, I believe, salaries, and part of it was with the police department. But there are 2 line items that clearly show what the difference is, so. It's in the audit, yeah.
I'm sorry. The legal and roads as well. It's not,
All right. Anybody else? Any comments? Anybody else on the board, or? Okay. Yeah, I'll move to close our committee of the whole meeting. Anybody motion? Make a motion?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn, Janet, and.
Second.
Second by Frank. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that worked out good. I agree with you. I do, I agree with you. Yeah, but he's got great credentials in finance, yeah. No, few more minutes. I thought Silvano was gonna come to this meeting. We kind of went back and forth.
I thought your final decision was the next meeting because we weren't sure if this was gonna go over.
But then I got back to her and I said, you know, if you feel you want to come earlier to kind of hear about the 6 o'clock meeting, feel free to do that as well. And so maybe she just chose to do the next meeting, but we'll wait a little bit.
Yeah, because we can't start until 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
start late, but you cannot
Start early.